What is a warrior? A warrior is defined in many ways. A fighter, a leader, a hero. Someone who has courage, strength, power, and resilience to whatever faces them. Whether a player, coach, manager, broadcaster, custodian, or administrator, anyone involved with sports is needed to achieve the highest level of excellence. It takes a warrior to achieve excellence, but it takes a village of warriors to achieve greatness. This is the Warriors Beyond the Scoreboard podcast.
Welcome to the Warriors Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. I'm Brayden Replogle, and today I'll be interviewing Mrs. Ann Richey, Wawasee's Athletics Administrative Assistant. Thank you for coming in the studio. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Brayden.
Yeah. For right now, just tell me about yourself. What's your name? Where are you from? A little facts about you.
Well, I was Ann Smith, graduated with your dad back in 1996 from Wawasee. I am now Ann Richey and have been for about the past 26 years.
Okay.
Let's see. I am born and raised in Syracuse. My dad was born and raised in Syracuse. My grandfather, my great-grandfather. So quite a legacy.
Just living around the area for a while.
In the area. My husband, Scott Richey, is also a 1995 grad of Wawasee and has been in the area, grew up in North Webster. And we have two boys. Evan is 25 and Jeb is 21. They both graduated from Wawasee. So, I've been around forever and good place to raise your kids.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Yeah, never thought that I would be a school secretary at the high school, but it's been fun. And obviously, I'm enjoying it because I've been here for a while.
Yeah.
So, My parents live in Millersburg, so not too far from here. I grew up on Cedar Point out on the lake and enjoyed that. My dad would sail. He was really involved with that and ice boating. He actually was on the school board for some time back in the 90s. And he was a business owner and, provided well for our family. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So she kind of was, like the room mom and all of that. And I really... I would hate to admit it, but I really enjoyed that. And I really kind of wanted to be able to do that for our boys. My husband's family, like I said, is from North Webster. His dad, Ron Richey, owned a roofing business, and also graduated from Syracuse High School, but back before all the schools consolidated. And I have a sister-in-law, Krista Richey, who was a 1999 grad. So we are all just kind of involved. Yeah. My boys, Evan graduated in 1999 and Jeb graduated in 22. And they were both involved in a lot of things, like while they were in high school, different things than I was ever involved in. And so that kind of opened my world to athletics. Yeah. I was in the plays, and student council and things like that when I was in high school. And I would go to the games, but I always joke I never knew where the athletic office was because I'm not a sporty person. Now, my husband was a wrestler, and both of my boys just got involved in different things. They both ended up playing tennis. And then my oldest managed softball. He tried football his freshman year and was like, I think my freshman year is enough. My youngest one ended up playing tennis, and he tried his hand at diving his freshman year and played baseball. And then decided to go back to swimming his senior year. So, yeah.
Okay.
So
now you said before you weren't expecting to becoming an administrative assistant. So tell me, how did you get into that? What got you interested in it? How did that all come together?
So I graduated from Purdue. My degree was in public relations, but we had kids right away. And it was really important to me to be able to stay home with them. Like my mom had stayed home with us. So when the boys were young, I was just a stay-at-home mom. And let's see, when our youngest started kindergarten, he was going to be going to school a little longer. And the late, great Kim Conrad, who you may not know, but lots of people in the community know, is a dear family friend, and said, why don't you come work half days in the Title I department at the elementary school. And then that way, you'll be working a little bit while your boys are in school. And it was wonderful. Yeah. And so I would work while Jeb was in kindergarten, and then I would take him home for the day. And I did that for a couple of years. And then the main office receptionist job opened up. And I thought, well, I'll apply for it. It was full time. Both boys were in school, all day. And I got that job and started, I think, in 2014.
Okay.
And it worked really well. I was on the boys' schedule. I still could bring them to school and, be available for them when they needed something. Or if they had a delay, I had a delay. It all worked out really well. And then the athletics position opened up. And the main office job it's a stressful job. I don't think a lot of people realize how stressful it is. You've got phones ringing and the doors are going and, and the buses, somebody missed the bus and you're trying to just juggle all of these things. And it was a lot. And I didn't realize how stressed I was. And the athletics job's open. And I thought, well, I'm ready for a challenge. I just was kind of ready to learn something new. And it was something I didn't know a lot about. So it would give me an opportunity to learn, something different. And so I thought, well, what the heck? I'll try it out. And so I moved down there in November of 2018. I've been there ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really
so not really my dream job, but it's what worked for our family. And, and it's now the boys are grown and married and moved on, but I'm still here because I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what you said about all these things going on, what are some important skills you think you need in order to be an athletic assistant?
Well, one of the things I struggle with is being a go with the flow kind of person. I like order and I like lists and black and white. And so that is a big challenge for me because things are changing all the time.
I bet, yeah.
And, you've got weather or you had COVID and my gosh, that was a disaster of trying to reschedule and figure things out. You definitely have to be organized. You kind of have to be able to look ahead, anticipate, what things are going to happen. My husband and I are going on vacation at the end of this month, and I've tried to be planning all month about what I need to do, what I have to have done, what games are we going to have, what rosters do we need, what sectional entries need to be entered, what money boxes need to be done, do I have all the workers? So just a lot of pre-planning.
A whole lot,
I mean, it's not hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be, but it's not.
It's just a whole lot of it happening at the same time.
It's just a lot, yeah. And so just, I think being organized and just trying to plan ahead are probably two of the biggest things, I feel like, to be efficient at the job.
And then what you said with all that stressful stuff happening at the same time, how do you just handle the coordination between athletes and coaches and staff members, just all that during the big seasons?
So we're lucky to have a good staff. I mean, first of all, Mr. Doty's the captain of the ship, and he does a great job.
Yes.
And so, ultimately everything is his call. We just are all players on that team and he's our coach. And I guess if you were to look at it like that, but we have good support staff that help supervise games and set up for events and stuff. And so we all work together and we all kind of have our, roles and what we do, whether it's setting up the field or the bleachers or, getting concessions ready or getting the money boxes out, making sure all of our workers and officials are there. So I think having dependable people, to help with those events is key. And then also having wonderful people that help run the scoreboards. Mike Connett is a godsend to our department. He does the scoreboards for volleyball and football and basketball, girls and boys. So he does a lot for our department. And without people like that are dedicated to our high school athletics, we definitely wouldn't run as efficiently.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So with another thing I've seen, a lot of people don't really understand the big importance of your job. Could you just really explain the significance of it? Because I feel like people don't really put into consideration how important what you're doing.
Well, I look at my job as, being kind of the behind the scenes person. It's my job to help make the things go smoothly, whatever that is. If we run out of tickets or we run out of money at events or, making sure that's all done. If we have people that are upset, trying to help figure out what the issue is and can we help them. That's kind of the event side of things. The day-to-day stuff, working in the office, it's kind of all over the place. And there are times where it's really, really busy and there are times that it's really slow. Like right now with coming to the end of a season, with our winter season coming to an end, things have slowed down quite a bit. Which is kind of nice, and then by the time that it's too slow and I'm too bored, things will pick up for the spring and we'll be ready to go again. But it's a lot of counting money boxes, organizing workers, scheduling bus trips, making sure our coaches have all of their information and making sure our athletes have all their physicals and their parent permissions done before they start practicing, checking grades, making sure that they're remaining eligible. You know, if somebody gets hurt in an event, making sure that we have the doctor's notes and keeping those on file, making sure that our coaches know, hey, you've got to have all of this done. You know, our sectional entries are due and I need to have all of this information by this date so I can get my stuff done. So I would say it's just office work, but it's a little bit different because you get the events in there and it kind of breaks up the day. I can't say that any 2 days are the same.
Yeah.
You know,
I bet it's all
you can kind of plan for it, but something always changes. In fact, yesterday I came into the office and we realized that our girls swim team is going down to state to compete this weekend in Indianapolis. And we didn't have a female on staff to travel with them. And that's an important thing to have. And so just like that, my plans changed for Thursday night. And now I'll be attending the swim state with the girls to be the female chaperone with their coach. So, you know, things like that. And then that's kind of fun because it's not, you know, it's not just a normal day in the office. It's a little something different. And
for sure,
you know, and like I said, with my boys being grown and gone, it's just my husband and the dogs to miss me and they'll survive. So,
all right. So just I guess for me per se, what would you say is like just your favorite thing about your job?
My job? It's the kids. I've said this. I'm not a sports person. I don't, you know, I always say I went to Purdue for the academics, not the athletics. I'm not going to watch college basketball or whatever, but you know who I am going to watch? The Wawasee Warriors.
Yeah.
And that's, I love watching these kids that I know grow and develop on the court, on the field, wherever it is, and to get to be a part of that journey kind of from a front row seat. You know, you get to watch it. That's what I love. I love being able to build relationships with the kids, you know, through the things that they love, the activities that they love. And that is hands down, that is my favorite part is watching the kids participate in whatever sport it is that they enjoy and brings them confidence and is teaching them life lessons.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there because I'm also not a huge sports guy, but there's just something different about if you know like people who are on the team, it becomes a whole different sort of who you're cheering for and who you want to succeed. Yeah,
absolutely.
I really do get that.
Yeah.
Could you share any memorable moments or experiences you've had while working like here at your job?
Memorable moments. Every day is memorable in the world of Wawasee Athletics. You know, some of the great memories, and I'm hoping to get to be a part of those this weekend, is watching our girls swim team perform so well at state. Our boys have shown up, and I've been able to go down to that and be a part of those state tournaments. Cool. And that's amazing. It's really amazing to see these kids that have worked so hard really reach the pinnacle of their high school sports career. I have had some really wonderful interns in the office over the years. One of my probably favorite memories is when I came in to work one day and the was covered in balloons waist high,
man.
the entire, and I don't know if you've been in our office, but it's fairly big. And I don't know how long those kids took to blow those up. So that was it was pretty funny. I was just like, funny. Oh my goodness, my computer was saran wrapped.
Oh man.
But it was, you know, that was a fun moment. Although cleaning it up was not as much fun.
Yeah. I bet. So what else motivates you to like keep doing what you're doing? Because you said before you weren't huge for the whole sports part, but it's just the students. Could you explain more about what keeps me wanting to do
wanting to come back?
Yeah.
It is, I think that Mr. Doty and I work pretty well together. I would hope that he would say the same thing. I think we make a good team.
Yeah.
I think having a good boss, I think being in a school where we have good leadership with Mr. Walmer and Mr. Snyder and Mr. Perrick, I think that makes a difference. And I think just the quality of kids that we have at Wawasee, you know, we may not have like the greatest records, but we have hardworking kids. Yeah. And we have kids with a lot of goals and a lot of work ethic. And as long as we have that, I'm going to want to stay and support them. You know,
totally.
This is not a job where, you know, you're going to become a millionaire, and that's okay. Because if my heart feels full and I feel like, you know, I'm doing something useful at the end of the day, I'm going to stick around as long as I can.
So like even when you're in those like really tough moments where a lot is going on.
Yeah.
Just keep yourself passionate by just thinking about.
I mean, between you and me and everybody listening, sometimes I think stress is a good thing for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, but at the same time, you have those moments of stress so that you can kind of appreciate the calm. Yeah. And I feel like I've gotten close to mastering running around like a chicken with my head cut off. You're pulled in all these different directions, and eventually it all works out. And again, that's why you have the great team of, Mr. Doty and Mr. Coach Osmolowski and Coach Carpenter and Dexter Wietrick. Those are our supervisors that help. And like I said, we all just kind of depend on each other to get everything done.
Yeah, for sure.
Get the stuff going. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that too. So I guess an important question to ask would be like, what goals are you working right now as an athletic assistant? What are you planning on getting done?
Immediately, this weekend would be traveling down to Indy to hopefully get some great pictures of our girls on the podium as they win their races. My goals for the next coming weeks are to make sure that our spring sports are ready to go, make sure that I have our bus trip centered, make sure that we've got all the kids that are showing up to practices rostered and they have all of their information turned in.
For sure.
Then it'll be looking at our workers, making sure we have all of our workers for the spring season.
I feel like that's a little important.
It's
to make
pretty
sure.
important.
Yeah.
The spring's a little easier, but we don't have as many workers as, that we do in the fall and in the winter. Football varsity games require a lot of help, and our JV and varsity basketball games require quite a bit of help too. So it's a little bit easier with a baseball game and a softball game. We just don't have as many positions that have to be filled. So that's kind of nice. It kind of gives that a break. My long-term goals are, like I said, just to be the best that I can be at my job and to keep trying to make, those connections with our community and our kids, making them always feel like they are welcome in the office. We always want kids that have to stop in and maybe don't know what they're, it's their first time down there. We always want to make them feel welcome. And I just want to try and do the best that I can at my job.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any big events that you want to tell the audience at all?
Well, I don't know that I have any big things planned. I think, overall, if the department does, if the school does, but again, that's kind of my job, is to not necessarily be a part of that. It's kind of the behind the scenes. So Mr. Doty would then come and say, hey, this is what we're working on. And then I'm going to try and find my way to support him in that and do whatever work needs to be done to make sure if we have something big coming up that we can work. We're not hosting any sectionals. That would usually be a pretty big event when we host a sectional game, making sure we've got everything and all the teams are coming in and we've got food for them. But we don't have anything like that this year.
Okay.
So if you asked me again next year, maybe it would be something different. But right now, I don't think we have any huge projects coming up.
And just as a final thoughts, do you have anything else you'd like to say to the audience?
Well, I would like to say I think this is a fantastic idea, the podcast. Thank you for making me feel comfortable. It was not nearly as scary as I thought it was going to be. I think it's great what you guys are doing, and we're, trying to build a community. So I would say thank you to you. Thank you to Mr. Van Loo and everyone who had this great idea. And I would say come out and support the Warriors at whatever event. If you want to come to a basketball game, if you want to come to a baseball game or a softball game, come out and see our kids and cheer them on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really worth it, and it's a good time. And I make the popcorn, and it's pretty good.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much for coming down here and answering all my questions. I know I'm not a great interviewer, but
I think you did fantastic.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all for listening. This is Warriors Beyond the Scoreboard.